Have you ever been playing Dungeons & Dragons as the DM, and you have entire sessions where your players don't really talk to each other in character very much, if at all? The player characters are the heart of the game, and their relationship as an adventuring party is paramount to the story you guys create together. It is the dream of every DM to start the session and sit back as the players simply take over, getting caught up in role-playing their characters with each other. But sometimes players just don't talk to each other as their characters. I have a few ideas on how to fix that, and I want to share them with you. My favorite, and the one I think works the best, I have saved for the end. So if you want to find out which way I think is the best way to get your players to talk to each other in character, watch through to the end of the video. Real quick, make a charisma saving throw against my own roll. If yours is higher, like the video. If mine is higher, subscribe. Alright, feel pretty good about that. Sometimes players just need a little bit of incentive to interact with their party members in a meaningful way. As a bonus, this method can be a great opportunity to incorporate some game mechanics that otherwise can go underutilized. For younger players like children and teenagers, treats like candy can be a great motivator to get them to interact with the other player characters. And this can be as simple as handing out a piece of candy every time one of your players interacts with another player as their character. If treats aren't the things your players want, then I recommend rewarding your players with inspiration points every time they have meaningful character interactions, and you can decide what a meaningful interaction looks like. It can be a moment of bonding between two player characters that advances their character development. It could also be the players communicating effectively during combat to coordinate their attacks and actions. New players can have an especially hard time getting used to the talking in character side of D&D, and even experienced players' minds can go blank from time to time. It may be necessary to prompt your players to speak to each other in order to get that sweet character role-playing going. I have found that the best prompts are questions. Things like, at this moment, what do you say to each other? You notice the rogue shifting uncomfortably, clearly hiding something. What do you say to confront them? Or, how do you respond to the wizard's question? Asking specific questions jumpstarts your players' minds and gives them a track to start on. Hopefully they can take it from there and have some great inter-party roleplay. Now before I talk to you about the best way to get your player characters to talk to each other in character, I want to tell you that a friend of mine started a Dungeons & Dragons podcast called Beyond the Tavern Wall. It is a great listen, and I'll be a guest host in an upcoming episode. That episode will be recorded in a week or so stay tuned and lend your ear. Meanwhile, check it out on Spotify. There's a link in the description of the video below. Sometimes the best thing to do as a DM is to stop talking, and that may seem contrary to your role as a DM, but I assure you it is a very crucial part of that role. You may begin the session, set the scene, and then say nothing more. If you've set the scene right, your players will have either a choice to make, a problem to solve, or some other actions to take. You will need to get comfortable with silence because your players need time to think. Resist the urge to intervene with an action by a monster or an NPC before the players even have a chance to say anything. The importance of setting the scene and then going silent cannot be understated. This is a great way to make downtime activities like traveling and visiting the local tavern meaningful. Travel especially can be an almost pointless aspect of the game. At best, your players are essentially fast traveling from location to location with a sentence like, you set off on the road to Cragmaw Castle heading north and you arrive 3 days later. At best, you as the Dungeon Master are able to weave an interesting travel montage that your players listen to but are otherwise passive observers of. Traveling is an excellent time to have some player-character interactions. So if your players have set up for a place that's going to take a few days travel, maybe set the scene like this. You awake in the tavern feeling rested. Each of you is eager to begin your journey to Cragmaw Castle in the hopes of rescuing your mutual friend. The journey will be many days. You set out on the road, anxiously anticipating what may transpire when you reach the castle. But after a few hours on horseback, excitement gives way to the mundane. It occurs to each of you that despite clearing out the bandits from the old manor together, there's a lot you actually don't know about each other. The silence is uncomfortable, and the urge to learn about each of your companions respectively becomes too much to resist. And then, say nothing. This may be followed by some actual uncomfortable silence at the table, and that's okay. Your introverted players may be intimidated, but if you've done your role well as the DM, then you established in Session 0 that this table is a safe place to be, and they will come around. You may have players who really are eager to speak up in character, and these players will take the lead in the party interaction that follows your invitation to speak. I also recommend talking with your more experienced and extroverted players to get their help to make sure everyone at the table has a chance to speak up during these party interactions. If you use these strategies to get your players to talk to each other, they'll create meaningful character connections, and they will really feel close as an adventuring party.